Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Stefanie Drysdale's weekly cyber recap number 9 for Friday, March 6, 2020. Ms. Drysdale, welcome back.
Thank you, Chuck. How are you?
I'm doing well. Been a busy week. I'm getting closer to capturing my cactus crook. Very close. I'll have an update
You
for
are.
you. Yes, I'll have an update soon for you on that. So tell us what's
Excellent.
going on in the cyber world. I know I saw some of your posts this week. Wow, a lot of things going on.
A lot of things, as always. Just to kick off, just want to make sure to remind people there are a lot of new updates to phishing scams, SIM swapping, things along those lines. Remember, SIM swapping is where someone social engineers your cell phone provider to try to take over your account. So just a reminder to make sure that you contact your cell phone provider, maybe T-Mobile if you're part of the recent breach. But to reach out to them and just make sure that all of your passwords are locked in and that you have every protection on your account possible, that they're not going to accidentally, give your information out or let someone else take over your account. Lots of reminders this week to people like admins and C-suite level to keep an eye out for those things. Again, back to the Barbara Corcoran thing from last week, just make sure that everyone is educated on those types of scams. With all the coronavirus information this week, we did a quick start guide to teach people how to safely work from home. So if you're going to be working from home and you're not used to doing that, or if your IT team hasn't kind of set that up, this is a good time to start that conversation to make sure that you're using a VPN and that the devices are set up to safely communicate from a business perspective. More scams with the coronavirus this week. Keep an eye out for any emails, general counsel, legal, anything from something that might appear to be from your work, anything that's related to, say, the office is going to be closed, there are going to be payroll adjustments, any kind of wellness checks for anyone, or any kind of donations that people might be soliciting. Those scams are going around, so you want to make sure that you're not falling prey to any of those that are illegitimate. CCPA, California Consumer Protection Act, reminders this week that there are a lot of fines going around, anything between $150 to $750 per offense. That really adds up quickly when you're storing a lot of data. So if you don't have a resource for that, it's a good time to reach out to a company like ours or another to make sure that you're compliant with CCPA as well as a lot of the other ones. So GDPR in New York, and they're cropping up everywhere. So again, make sure you know whose data you have and that you're disclosing the people's right to opt out or the right to be forgotten. Spotting unsafe airports. Dark web exposure is a really quick way that your company can research where your executives are traveling and how safe those airports are. Another reason not to plug into the airport Wi-Fi, and to make sure that if you're an airport executive or responsible for those, that you're aware of the scams going around related to not only your organization and airport, but others as well to learn from. Artificial intelligence and machine learning in cybersecurity becoming really, really big topic. That this is really being used to just parse through a wealth of data that no human could possibly keep up with, as well as spot really nuanced patterns in things that humans probably couldn't pick up on either. Again, never going to take the human out of the loop. It still needs to be reviewed. AI and machine learning is not an independent process, but it's a tool for humans to use to better protect their cybersecurity in their organization. We talked about hitmen in the dark web. This is a scary topic. A lot of people think that someone could just pay a few $1,000s and have someone knocked off by soliciting services on the dark web. While it is possible, it's very, very unlikely. Most of these things are scams. They're designed to take money, and they're traps for law enforcement. So while, of course, we don't want anyone to get hurt, these are things that people are using more as fear tactics and not something that's incredibly prevalent. Laszlo Gonk and Thomas O'Malley shared the 33 cybersecurity industry associations. Really, really important resource to check out the industry associations that are related to you, interesting to you, things that you can learn from and share your knowledge back into, and keep those conversations and those dialogues going. Nick James shared 2 articles this week. One was on the Clearview AI data breach. That really only affected the customer data, related to the number of accounts and the number of searches that were being done. It didn't really have any compromised data of any great, huge degree, because most of the information that they have on their site is open source anyway, for now, and until they do what they're supposed to with the cease and desist from companies like Google, who don't want them scraping the data any further. Then digital spring cleaning. That's a really, really good thing. If you catch that, very important to just periodically go through things and spring clean. Get rid of the apps you're not using. Make sure that your passwords are not reused on anything else. And then just kind of do a clean sweep of all of your cybersecurity postures. Chris Wolski did an interview with Steve Moore this week about his job search as a CISO. I thought this was a really important interview. Talked a lot. It was very candid. I thought really, really important that he's sharing information about his experience. We're talking about a 0% cybersecurity shortage for skills, and what a difficult process just the job search was. I know some CSOs that are having very similar struggles right now to find their new home, their new position. The important thing to remember here is that there are people in our network that are actively job seeking. Can get great tips for maybe performing the role of an adjunct professor or other teaching opportunities while you do that to bring in an additional income. Another thought that he had that I thought was really unique was leveraging your relationships, even with us vendors and potential salespeople. I don't like to think of myself as a salesperson, but technically I would be, to make sure that you remember that those people have a lot of industry connections and resources that you can tap into. So keep your network close and always keep in touch with them. Really helpful to make sure that you have people that you can reach out to if and when the opportunity presents itself that you're looking for a new home. Cyber Rescue Alliance shared the 2020 Global Cyber Threat Report, 68 pages of gold, so make sure you check that out. Alexander Blanc this week had really cool insight into Jim Browning, which is an alias, who basically hacked the scammer. So I love this. This was a great walkthrough on how he tapped into their systems and figured out who they were and had the hackers on the defense. And from an industry perspective, ISMA, the International Security Management Association, just reminded people that being a member of those types of organizations, as is things like that, are a great resource for times like this, especially during coronavirus and other issues, to reach out to global professionals who have really great advice and are generally very, very generous with their help. And that's all I have for you this week. I hope everyone has a great weekend, and I look forward to talking to you next week.